What's up, y'all? It's Terry Warfield, and you are listening to Costly Conversations. Let's get it.
Welcome to Costly Conversations. My name is Aaron, and we have a very special guest today, the one, the only tight shirt, Terry Warfield. He is a YouTuber, camera guy, video editor, does it all, and he's a dad of like 1,000,000,006 kids. So without further ado, Terry Warfield. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? I like the billion and six kids thing. That's
I
about
mean,
accurate.
it's true. I mean, you're what, dad of the year over here. So
Man, I'm trying to be. Trying to be.
yeah, man. Well, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the dads, actually. Dads who are out there grinding away, chasing their dreams, but also making sure their family is good. Shout out to you. Like, we see you, bro. Keep at it. That said, Terry, thank you for coming on the show, bro. Wanted to first of all just say thank you for stopping in. I know you don't have to, but there's something that happened about, was it 6 months ago at this point, on your YouTube channel that I caught wind of it, and I was like, yo, how did this happen to the bro? You did a quick vlog, and at some point you went to a shooting range, and people weren't too happy about that. Can you walk us through
All
what
right,
happened
so
there?
yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to come on here, man. It's an honor. I appreciate it. And I'm glad to be here. So it wasn't any issue with me taking the time out to be here, man. I love what you do. I respect you, and I'm glad to be here, man. So, um, yeah, about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, um, I decided that it was time for me to bring some of the real me to my YouTube channel. Now, some of you probably all of y'all don't know, but my YouTube channel is based around like photography, camera gear, tips and tricks, editing tutorials, stuff like that. And I decided that I'm gonna start being a little bit more transparent and actually show people what I do on a day-to-day basis. And part of that is going to the range and protecting myself. And I take training and etc. very serious. So um, I decided that I was going to put the vlog out there, and the thumbnail was literally me with my hand on my pistol on my hip. And I put the video out there just kind of talking about the importance of protecting yourself as a creator, the importance of, even if it's not with a firearm, just being aware and being more vigilant when it comes to personal safety, etc. And it was kind of well received. I mean, it's a left and a right side to this. So the left side didn't like it, the right side was all for it. But for me, it was one of those things where I just wanted to be transparent because, um, unfortunately, we live in a nation where if you don't protect yourself, you're sitting duck because the criminals don't care about the laws, and if you do and they don't, that puts you at an extreme disadvantage. So, yeah, I put it out there.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, for those who have been paying attention, for the last 2 years, we've been having this conversation with all sorts of people, but to this point, we've not had this conversation with somebody who's kind of established in the media space. And YouTube and Hollywood, they're two different places, but it is interesting that it's like, wow, you really more or less alienated some of the people who watch you on a regular basis just for putting it out there that this is something that you value. Um, you didn't say, "Oh, go vote for this guy," or do these things. You just say like, "Hey, this is what I do. If you want to do something like this, you can. Just be safe." And I didn't see anything crazy that you did. It's not like you were like, God bless the AR-15. I mean, God bless the AR-15, but you didn't say that.
God bless the AR-15. Yeah.
I mean, amen. But you didn't say anything like super crazy or out there, but yet you still had people who, this is YouTube, this is social media. People are going to have an opinion. Now, did you lose subscribers over this, or was it just like a, hey man, we don't want to see this again?
I lost a lot of subscribers. And the way I looked at it was, I don't care, because if I can't be me and show you every facet of my life without you getting butt hurt and offended over it, that's not somebody I want as a part of my family. I call, my YouTube subscribers my family. I hate calling people subscribers. But if I can't be genuine with you and you not get butthurt to the point where you say I need to leave, because if you're friends with somebody, y'all should be able to have a conversation. And even if y'all don't agree on something, that doesn't mean that the relationship has to be severed. And for people that only saw one particular piece of what I was trying to convey and nothing else that I had to offer and were ready to cop deuces and say I want nothing to do with you, goodbye. I mean, I don't need those type of people, because I'm not willing to tiptoe and dance around my core values and my beliefs. I'm doing it in a tasteful way. I'm not going out of my way to offend anybody or anything like that. If we can't have a basic conversation without you getting offended, I don't need you around. I
Yeah,
lost
no, I
probably that
mean,
day like 200 subscribers that day. No cap.
the crazy part is, as much as you're an established YouTuber, it's not like you're, you know, 500,000 plus subscribers deep where, you know, you're losing a chunk of subscribers isn't going to affect things monetarily for you. And
Mm,
obviously, 200 out of so many is that's a number, but at some point, that's gotta kind of irk you a little bit. Just for like, really, like these people really just got up and dipped. But I do understand what you said, where it's like, do you even really want these people around if you can't make content that they would, if not appreciate, just respect that you're putting yourself out there? And I can get that. So
yeah, it was eye opening for me because it lets you know like who really done for you or not. Um, One thing I'm big on in in the YouTube space, period, is I don't want you here because of the product I have in my hand. I want you here because you like me as a person or you like what I represent. And when you have somebody that's willing to just bounce on you because you said something negative about a product that they just spent their money on, or maybe your values don't align or whatever, it's one of them things of like I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, and I don't care what you say because my value is not my position on it is not gonna change because you don't like it.
yeah. Now I'm curious, almost pivoting, and we'll come back and address some additional topics. But do you, and maybe you've not gotten past this point, but when did it kind of get in your mind that your value is more than, the 200 subscribers who left, or the overall number, or your overall view count on a regular basis? At what point did it click for you, or has it even clicked?
Um, it does it clicks because like am I willing to sacrifice my identity? And this may or may not hinder me, right? Because I know a lot of YouTube channels, especially in the tech space or firearm space, whatever the case may be, a lot of people are not willing to expose themselves for fear of brands not liking them or for fear of an audience not liking them. And I promised myself when I first started, so to answer the question, it was like when I first started, I would not sacrifice my integrity and who I am as a person. I'm not trading that in for subscribers or for money. It's not worth it to me. $1 million ain't worth it to me if I had to sell my soul to get it or I had to change who I am as a person to get that money. I don't believe in that. So, for me, it's always been there. But I think what got me to that point was um I just wanted more freedom. I just wanted more freedom to be who I am on YouTube. And I feel like, YouTube is a place where personality shine. Nobody wants, that's what separates you from the next person is not what you're talking about, but it's the personality and it's the person behind the camera. So it was just that point where I'm like, man, if I'm gonna really take control and build my brand how I want to and have a loyal audience, I gotta reveal myself in a way that most people aren't willing to. And it might cost me. It might cost me brand deals. It may cost me my growth slowing down. It may cost me subscribers. But at the end of the day, I would rather have 1,000 loyal followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call it, than 10,000 people who don't care about
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely get that, in the sense that, as we're building up the show and, reaching more people, obviously there's going to be people who disagree in the comments, and, but that's what it's all about. I want to create an environment here where we can disagree. We could even get into a heated argument, but at the end of the day, let's dap it up and, keep it moving, in the sense that we're going to tune in for the next show, agree on something else, disagree on something else. And I
me.
mean,
Yeah.
like you said, in the tech space, where, you're reviewing an Apple Watch, you're reviewing a camera in the camera cinema space per se, and it's like, if you dog the A74, are you going to lose a subscriber? Probably. Probably you'll lose like a few. But
Yeah.
why? And should you let that put you in some mental cage where you can't even feel like, man, if I say this, these people are, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be retribution. You're sweating. You're about to hit upload, and you're just like, oh dang, I don't know if I could do this. Like that's not the energy that you want to have around you, especially as you got more than just this going on. You're a dad. You're also. I know you do some freelance. I don't know what you're, if you've locked in with a specific group, but you do other things, and to let this ruin your day, that's just not going to fly. And I know, being a married man, that's not going to fly after the camera's off.
Right. Uh, man, I feel very very strongly about you know I don't let the comments get to me. I don't let the people who want to leave get to me. I don't get the negative comments. I don't let them get to me. And to answer the question, I think the reason why people are so inclined to leave over just something as petty as you offering a different opinion than what they hold is for some reason online, especially on YouTube, there is a sense of entitlement. There's an extreme sense of entitlement where um if you don't agree with what I say, it's almost like let me finish what I'm saying. If you don't agree what I say, I'm willing to leave. And I equate these people. I used to work in like cell phone stores and stuff like that. And people will walk in and say, if you don't give me my demands right now, I will leave out of here and take my business elsewhere. I don't want to deal with people like that. I don't. So when these people sit here and leave me comments, oh, I'm unsubscribing from you and all this stuff, the fact that you felt that you hold that much power over me that you can make a comment like that and I'm supposed to sit there and stop what I'm doing to me is elitist mentality that I just don't vibe with. And for people that have that, I could care less if you leave or not. I don't feel like I'm losing anything. In fact, I feel like I'm gaining something because I feel like I might be losing you, but somebody else that's not gonna judge me because my opinion doesn't vibe with theirs, and they're willing to leave me over it. Somebody else will come in and take the space that you left. So, um, I think it's a sense of entitlement, man. I just think it's the generation we live in, the times we live in. Everybody is so opinionated, and everybody want their view to be the holy way and stuff like that. And I just don't care about them.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna actually take a quick second and talk about some of the people who are supporting the show, if we can't just go ahead and do that real
Let's
quick.
do it.
So, for those of you who are paying attention and follow Terry, one of his favorite things is coffee, and this is not his sponsor. This is my sponsor. We're supporting. Well, Blackout Coffee is supporting what we're doing right now. Drinking the pods, drinking the iced coffee, and it's definitely a great time. Click the link down below to check them out. It's a great brand. They support Second Amendment, and they support me. So definitely check them out. Terry.
And I'm down
So
with anybody who supports my man. So
thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, tonight I'm drinking iced coffee, and it's so good. I've never been a big iced coffee guy, but I was like, all right, coffee kind of got a little cool. Let me run it through some ice. Amazing, amazing. Just
I could do iced coffee. So I prefer hot coffee. It's just something about that hot liquid that kind of jolts you. You know what I'm saying?
sure,
Especially
yeah,
when you tired.
yeah, yeah,
But I could do iced coffee at certain times. But I
yeah,
prefer hot coffee.
yeah. I get it, but I think in a way somehow your taste buds pick up some additional essence from the coffee because you're like, okay, it's cool, so I can detect this and that. But enough about coffee.
That's true.
So let's actually talk a little bit about back into the firearms a little bit. So regarding to concealed carry, did you grow up with guns or kind of what's your story?
I've always been into them. I didn't grow up with them. I've always been not fascinated by what they can do, but more so just on the craftsmanship. I've always been like a military nut. My parents were in the military. I was born on a military base, so I was just always into weaponry, even going up to nuclear weaponry. Like I'm a huge nuclear nut. Um, so no, I didn't grow up with them, but as I got older, I just started, getting into it, and I love it, man. I love the skill involved. I love the craftsmanship. I love the training. I love everything about it.
Nice. Now, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they're into the nuclear side, just because it's there's a lot of connotation with it. But from what you kind of explained, it's not like you're in love with the death or whatever. It's just the
No,
science behind it.
it's the science behind it. I'm not into, and I let me say this, man. I know people who are into firearms get a bad rap. Everybody think we murderers and etc. Man, no. Some of us, it's literally like, um, some people collect cars, man. Some people collect cameras. Some people collect video games. Firearms, to me, obviously, if I need to use them for defense, yeah, I'm gonna use them. But it's more so about me. I just like them. So when it comes to like nuclear, sure, nuclear energy has been used in super freaking destructive ways. Am I interested in that? No. I'm just interested in. It's crazy to me that humans have figured out how to harness the same type of energy that our own sun uses, and we've been able to take that energy and apply it towards propulsion systems and weapons, and and that envelope is still evolving. So it's just to take like the physics behind it is very intriguing to me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and you know I find it fascinating that especially people who are against firearms, against guns, against this concept or idea, they're quick to be like, there's more guns than people in the United States, and I wonder if that's not the same in regards to cars. Like I've not looked it up, but it just came to mind. I'm like, how many cars exist in the United States? Things with four wheels and a motor. You know,
Yeah.
and it's got to be more than people at this point, right? Like
I
it's got to
think it
be.
is. I think it is because it's not like guns go anywhere. It's
Right,
not like they die and then the count goes down. Like the only time that they go somewhere is when they're dismantled or destroyed,
right.
and they're made in the millions every year. So I would probably argue that it's more. I've even said it like it's probably more guns than people in the United States.
No, I mean that's a fact. I mean, just if you look at the numbers, there are more guns than people, but that's not. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing when people are like, "Well, how many guns exist in the UK?" Oh, we only have this many. Well, but I don't know if your barometer for morality should be based on literally the count of guns that are sitting in a cellar or somebody's gun locker or a safe or in the United States military's bunker where they've got so many guns, and
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a good barometer for the morality or your state of crime or whatever it is. And so, kind of going back to you, when we look at, so you didn't really grow up with guns, but you had parents in the military. What branch?
My dad was Army for 17 years.
Golly, that's a long time. We thank him for his
Yeah,
service.
17 years. I
Yeah,
thank him too.
that's awesome. And so your dad was in the military for a long, long time. You grew up. Did you?
I'm
What?
sorry. I'm sorry. Air Force. What am I talking about? My wife was in the Army. He was in the Air Force. Sorry about that.
Okay, you're about to get in trouble, but it's. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure you'll be forgiven at
don't
some
put
point.
don't put that out. Oh my God.
Oh, geez. So, um, regarding you, when did you buy your first firearm? Like, was this as an adult, or did you somehow pick
Yeah, I
one
bought
up?
my first
Okay.
one. No, I bought my first one. I've never owned a firearm illegally. I remember when I first like started buying them, I was probably like 24, 25. I just remember my instructor telling me, "Hey, man, there's a attorney at the end of every round that comes out of a firearm." So, um, knowing that, I didn't start buying them until like 20, yeah, like 25, around that age. Um, yeah, I forgot the other part of the question. I don't know if you asked something else, but it was
No,
about that
no,
age.
that's cool. No, no, no. So around 24, 25, you actually got into it. After actually having an instructor teach you how. That's so different because a lot of people they go to the range, they pick up a gun, and that's kind of the beginning of their story. But you actually went and found an instructor.
Yeah,
That's
it,
fascinating.
I just take, I take, I take safety very serious, man. Um, So when I got into it, I wanted to make sure. I mean, first of all, it was a requirement in Ohio, so you couldn't get a CCW without. But before we switched to constitutional carry about 6 months, about 7 months ago, you had to. Now we were open carry, so yeah, you could just walk into a gun store as long as you pass background check and pick one up. But for me, I wanted to do it the right way, and I think open carrying is silly, especially especially in today's world. So if I'm going to conceal it, I had to go through this instructor and take the proper courses and then get a concealed carry license. But it don't stop there. A lot of people think, oh, I got my CCW or I got my CCL. Like I don't, I'm good. And the reality is no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? So I take the reps every day. I take everything very, very seriously, and I always have.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really impressed with your kind of understanding of it. Maybe I shouldn't be because if you've done your research, if you've applied yourself, if you've taken a class, you can become proficient in this thing, and you don't have to kind of be soaked in it night and day and night, completely obsessed. You can kind of do it as you have time to deal with it, and that seems like the path that you went down. Um, Obviously, your wife was in the military. Was she okay with you kind of jumping into this thing? I don't know if you did it before you guys met or what the
Nah, so
situation
this was
was.
I got into it after. Um, so I didn't. Okay, so I bought them before, but I didn't really take the dry fire and the drawing from concealment thing. I didn't take any of that stuff like to that level serious until probably like 3 years into our marriage. And at first, she thought I was crazy. She was like, "Man, why you got all these guns? And why you always got a gun on you? And what's up with you like walking around?" And she used to walk in on me, and I'll be just drawing my pistol from my hip from concealment, trying to go through the motions. And she was like, "You crazy? You paranoid?" I said, "Okay, I'm glad you think that, but let me ask you a question. If I'm not here, and I gave her my AR-15. I said, if I'm not here and you need to defend this house, show me. Show me if it's around in the chamber. Show me how to chamber around. Show me how to get it off safety. Show me what you're gonna do if somebody walks in this house and you're laying in the bed. What is the procedure to get your firearm and get it into action to defend this house?" She said, "Okay, you're right." And I said, "I know I'm right." So for me, a lot of people again think that all I gotta do is buy a gun and I'm cool. Well, you can't just buy a baseball bat and be great at baseball. You have to practice with it. And a lot of times in these, God forbid, life or death scenarios, your upper level thinking and all of that stuff goes out the window, and you rely on muscle memory and experience things that you've been through. And if you've never put yourself through that situation before, if you've never put yourself through a scenario, where's my firearm? If somebody busts in my house in the middle of the night, how do I get to it? If you've never practiced that, then when it happens, you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna freeze. So yeah, she used to look at me like I was crazy and etc. until I explained it to her. And then when she started carrying, I said, "Well, it's great that you got a gun on you, but if I run up on you, how you gonna get it out?" "Oh, it's in my purse." "Well, what if I grab your purse? Like, then how are you going to get it out?" So it's just all these situational things that a lot of people don't think about that you really need to think about beforehand, because unfortunately, the United States, it's a lot of violence and theft and, criminal activity. And, if you are going to carry a firearm, it comes with major responsibility. It comes with not only for everybody else's safety, but for your own. And it comes with, you have to practice at it, because if you don't, what happens when you don't practice in basketball, football, baseball? You get rusty. Would you really want to be rusty in the time where your life is in danger? No. So,
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately just because I wish everybody a peaceful life, but I've met way too many people who have actually had to use their firearms in defensive situations, whether that be in a law enforcement situation, overseas military combat, or right here domestically, um, whether that be in a security capacity or just, hey, me and my friends are hanging out and somebody literally tried to run up and rob everybody. Um, actually met a guy recently who he had two self defense encounters that involved a firearm. And
wow.
yeah, I know it's like the numbers.
That's like hitting the lottery two times. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, in a bad way. And
Yeah, in a bad lottery.
it actually, the three people that I know who have been, I know a few more, but there's three people that I know who have had multiple self defense encounters, at least two, and sometimes more. And you're like, dang, are you just a trouble magnet? I don't understand. I don't understand. And I'm not trying to make him look bad because literally the situations, like we're talking about, oh man, I was walking down an alley and somebody literally jumped out and tried to, rob me and my son, that kind of thing. Or another situation, yeah, I was at a gas station and somebody pulled out a rusty knife and was chasing me around the car. It's like, what are you going to do? Like, not go to the gas station? Yes, but
Yeah.
also, if you need gas, you need gas. So it's just those situations where it's like, dang, like it can happen at any point, at any time. And just because it's a rare situation doesn't mean it can't happen twice.
So, the thing is, man, I'm glad you said that. People have this expectation that it's going to happen to everybody but them. Trust me, nobody who's ever been in a defensive scenario where they had to use their firearm to draw down on somebody, unless they were looking for it, nobody ever thought that it would actually be them until it's them and they're in that situation. So I say that to people all the time. You wear your seatbelt every day, not thinking that you the one gonna get in a car crash, but you still wear it. And having your firearm on you is the same way. You never think it's gonna be you until it's you. And then when it's you, would you rather be prepared or not prepared?
Shoot, I mean, that's sometimes in life you feel like something's wrong, like you're like, dang, tonight don't feel right, and usually you're wrong. Like usually you can go out, be where you need to be, and you'll come home just fine. But
Mm-hmm.
there are some nights where everything is fine, and something weird happens. Shoot, I remember we had a weird situation. This kind of propelled me into the firearm space where me and my boys in college were living in an apartment off campus, and somebody knocks on the door at like 11 o'clock at night, and we think, oh, it's our guy Josh. His boy just came over to hang out super late. College kids, we doing our thing, and no one's drinking, no one's doing anything. We're just playing Madden, hanging out, and it's these two guys looking for somebody. One of them has a baseball bat sticking out the back of their shirt, and they both smell like liquor. One of them has a black eye, and we're just like, "Yo, what is going on?" And it dawned on us that we didn't have anything in the house to really kind of force multiply what we naturally have. So whatever they got tucked under their shirt, like that could be it. So fortunately, no one got hurt that evening that we know of, but it really came to my mind like, yo, like as I was engaged at the time, about to be married. Like I need to not be in this situation again, where we're literally locking the doors and like trying to get away from the door to make sure they don't just like start shooting through the door. And I don't want to be in such fear for my life with literally no way to fight back, because you will still be in fear generally, but no way to fight back is a dark place to be. Is a dark place. It's
And
like,
I never want to be in that position, man. Imagine being in a position where my life was in danger and I had no way if another person has a weapon to equalize or force multiply. And it's a sad reality, and I'm going to say this, and not everybody will agree with this. If I could right now give away all of my weapons, and everybody else had to also, I would do it. I'm willing to give away my quote unquote addiction to firearms, my collector's mentality for firearms, if it meant that everybody else, including criminals, had to also give up their firearms. And the threat of somebody having a firearm and I don't have one to protect myself were to disappear, I would. But the unfortunate part of living in the United States is a beautiful country, but let's keep it a buck. Like the gun laws are made to almost protect the criminals, not the law abiding citizen, the criminal. So it's an unfortunate situation because you got a lot of people who be like, man, you the problem because you carrying guns and or y'all keep buying guns and all this stuff. But what you don't realize is we have to. We have to because there's so many criminals out here who have access to firearms that should not have them that don't give a damn about the law. So when you say you guys shouldn't have firearms, you imply that you think that it will be okay for us and our families. And we don't want no trouble. We don't want no smoke with nobody. So you're saying that it would be okay for us to be in a situation where we cannot defend ourselves or our families. We don't want to have to defend ourselves or our families. But in the United States, when you have this gun pandemic, we're forced to. And you may or may not agree with it, but it's the reality of the situation. Period.
Yeah, it is a rough situation, and some people definitely would disagree with the thought of, giving it up, just because there is another factor, which is, if you look at biological men versus biological women, there has to be some sort of equalizer if we're going to allow men and women to be equal in society, and say,
Yeah.
there are certain countries where women can't leave the house without dudes. In America, I don't recommend women leave the house without some sort of tool to multiply their strength, because we just bare bones facts. And I don't want to drag you into some men versus women conversation. Men, I mean, if you look at yourself and you look at a woman that's your height and even your weight, she don't stand a chance. She don't stand a
Yeah.
chance,
I mean, I'm at least 2 times stronger.
at least.
Um, at least. And that's for a typical guy. So
Yeah.
I even tell my wife this. She'd be like, man, I could roll with a man. No, I mean, you might be able to get lucky with a swing or a punch, but if you got an angry, aggressive man juiced up on adrenaline, you ain't got nothing for him. As much of a beast as you might be.
Right. And I
I
have no doubt she's a
women
beast.
need yeah, and she is. I didn't see her in action, but when it comes down to it, an adult, healthy, strong man, fueled up on adrenaline and rage, you can't do nothing with him unless you have some type of force multipliers. So I totally agree. Whether, and I even said this in the vlog, I'm not even saying that you need to carry a gun, but carry something, carry
Something.
some mace, carry a knife, carry something to alleviate the threat in that type of situation if it were to ever happen.
Something. And I highly recommend that, if you are anti gun, or maybe you don't feel like you're ready for a gun, or maybe you feel like maybe you don't have the right temperament for a gun, because there is that factor too. If you really feel like you're just kind of erratic, maybe something else can kind of be that stopgap until you're at a point where you feel like you're emotionally mature enough to carry a firearm responsibly. So for me, even if I'm in a place where I cannot carry a firearm in Texas, I've always got at least some sort of, blade, knife, or something with me, because you're not going to catch me out here naked in these streets. Like, you're just not. Like,
It's not
people
happening.
are crazy. People are literally crazy. Some people are just so full of evil and rage, where they've had a terrible life and they want you to have a terrible life too. And they want to be famous for it.
Yeah, what did Joker say? Some people just want to watch the world burn, bro.
Yeah, that was Michael Caine as
I'm sorry, yeah,
the
Michael
butler.
Caine in Dark
Yeah,
Knight.
yeah. Some men just want to
Some
watch the
people just
world
want to
burn.
watch the world burn.
Yeah, and it's
And I ain't got time for them.
I don't. I really don't. And I've met some of those kids and adults. I mean, I've worked in schools where these kids, they're demented, they've been abused, they've been tied to stuff, they
Hmm.
enjoyed darkness, and literally threaten like their foster parents with knives. They like little sweet little Timmy. He's such a nice kid. Like, oh, he's talking about Pokemon cards. You're like, oh man, you like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. And then you like, yo, where'd kid go? Oh yeah, he's in crisis intervention because he pulled a knife on his foster parents and he said he was gonna kill him. You're like, bro's like 65 pounds soaking wet. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a lot of evil out there, man. And
Yeah,
again, unfortunately, you if you don't do what you need to do, like we ain't talking about losing some money. We ain't talking about losing your car. We're talking about your life. Like
yeah,
you can't press respawn. You can't go buy another life from the life dealer. So if you value your life, you have to do something. And what again, even if you don't want to use an object, go and get training for some advanced form of self-defense or anything to give yourself the upper hand in a encounter where your life might be at stake. I'm not leaving my life to chance. We face perils every day, but some of them we can't control, but some of them we can control. And one thing I can control is if somebody run up on me or they got bad intentions, I'm gonna be equipped to handle that situation. And God forbid I'll never be in that situation, but if it happens, I will be prepared for it.
absolutely. And I highly recommend if you've got no what they call empty hand skills, if you don't know, and I'm not saying go learn karate just because some martial arts really aren't designed for brawls, but go pick up some judo, go pick up some jujitsu, go pick up some krav maga, something where
Hmm.
somebody literally puts hands on you or knocks you to the ground where you can kind of tussle a bit, maybe give yourself some time because time plus distance equals options.
Yeah,
So can,
yeah,
can we can we figure that out? And also study the law a little bit because unfortunately a lot of well-intentioned firearms owners get out there and they don't understand use of force. And I've been actually I'm in a course right now. It's like 80 hours talking about use of force and things like that. And it's crazy the amount of power that first of all the police have to gain your compliance. If they give you a lawful order, they can do whatever they want to you to gain
yeah,
compliance. And then for somebody like myself, an average citizen, even if I'm acting in some sort of capacity above just the average citizen, what can you do and what can you not do before you've literally assaulted somebody unlawfully? And that's important. Like if you point your gun at somebody and they didn't need a gun pointed at them, you've assaulted them. And if
yep,
they needed a gun pointed at them, and if you've shot them or if you just ended up just brandishing or aiming a firearm, you better call the police. You better be the first one on the phone because you've assaulted them. And whoever calls the police first is right, unfortunately.
yep,
So,
they got the upper hand.
yeah.
Um,
And this
I,
is not
I,
legal advice,
I,
but just putting that out there.
I totally agree with that, man. Again, one thing I'll never forget is there's an attorney at the end of every round that gets discharged. Not just discharged. There's an attorney at the end of every round in your weapon. So I don't have time to be out here doing things with my weapon that may land me unless it's a life or death situation in the hands of an attorney where my freedom is at stake. So when I always say, like, if you're gonna be a gun owner, you need to be a responsible firearm owner because your own discernment can land you in prison if you don't have the proper grounding when it comes to things you can and cannot do, and what capacities you can and not do them in. And it's always worth, even if you get your CCW, CCO, whatever, to every so often go read your county's laws, go read your state's laws on what you are allowed to do, what you cannot do. Because if you don't have an understanding of them and you try to figure a situation out under your own understanding, you might end up in prison, or even worse, with all of these people carrying now, you doing something as simple as brandishing the gun. Everybody carrying now. So if you point your gun at me, you're getting shot because now my life is in danger. So people need to think about that stuff when they get in these bad situations. So I'm about to pull my gun out to scare them. Yeah, you might get shot also or end up in jail in the process. So people got to be smart, man. A gun don't make you. It don't make you God. It don't make you powerful. It don't do any of those things that a lot of people use guns for. It's totally backwards.
No, absolutely. And one thing that people say, and it's becoming, hopefully it's not cliche yet, and I wish it was, because that would mean more people have heard it, but don't put yourself in situations with a gun that you wouldn't have put yourself in without a gun. Like, I don't think that's rocket science. Like, oh man, I got a gun, it's all
It's
good, I'll approach these people just because I'm armed.
n-
What?
no.
You done? Okay.
No, look, do y'all realize how many people who have firearms end up dead? Okay, a firearm is not a pass. A firearm does not grant you um what's the word? Invincibility. So because just because you went into a room with a firearm, first of all, you ain't the only person in there with a firearm. Let's be clear. We live in the United States of America. Every other man got it on him. Okay, it doesn't grant you invincibility, and just because you think you got the upper hand, it don't always work like that. I mean, you could go on channels, and I know you know about them. Active Self Protection is a
Mm-hmm.
channel I watch all the time in situations where these quote unquote law abiding citizens get themselves either shot or killed trying to neutralize a situation they have no business being in and no business trying to neutralize. So the point of and if anybody's listening who is unclear on this, the point of concealing a weapon and carrying a weapon is not to get into a situation, but to get out of a situation. Period. Period. If I'm in a store and something bad is happening, guess what? I'm leaving. I'm not about to sit here and get into a shootout because just like your rounds can hit me, I mean, just like my rounds can end up on target, so can theirs. And that might cost me my life. So the only time I'm ever going to reveal that I'm armed is in a situation where I have no other choice and my life is in direct threat. Period.
Absolutely. Period. And um, and that's why my guy Kevin Dixie out of Atlanta, his training company is called No Other Choice, because reality is there's a lot of people who think that who fancy themselves a hero. Don't be a hero. Like, that's not what this is about. Make it home. Don't end up in a cell. Don't end up in a 4x4. Don't end up in a box 6 feet under because you thought you were hot stuff. And I understand why some people kind of stay out of bad situations, but reality is you could end up dead or worse.
Yeah. Hey, I remember years ago, there was a unfortunate shooting in Walmart, and there were two assailants. One of them was running through Walmart, right, doing whatever he was doing. I don't even want to. Y'all know what he was doing at Walmart. Now, mostly everybody had cleared out the store except for a guy who had a CCW, and there was a lonely woman still walking through Walmart with her shopping cart. Now, the assailant, I'm sorry, not the assailant, the CCW holder is pursuing the assailant who's shooting people in Walmart. And what he didn't know was the lady that was pushing the shopping cart was the accomplice. So he pulled out his weapon, being a hero, to neutralize the threat and got himself killed because she shot him in the back. The accomplice, once he shot the person who was running through Walmart doing XYZ to all these people. So, you know, I get it. There's sometimes where you kind of have to, but more often than not, you don't have to. And the goal is to always get back home. So there's a reason why you have law enforcement and police and SWAT, etc. They are equipped to handle it. And what do I mean by equipped? They have armor. They have higher capacity weapons. They have, you know, way more access to stuff that increases their chance of survival than you do with your little 9 round CCW pistol and a dad cap on. Don't be a freaking hero. Go back home to your family unless you don't have a choice.
Right. And one thing that I'm gonna note is understand like real life scenarios, because recently we've had some really serious situations happen. People shopping in grocery stores, and somebody comes and tries to clear the place out. And unfortunately, oftentimes a lot of those people just aren't going to be armed because of the area. But looking at scenarios where it's like, okay, from one end of a grocery aisle to another, if somebody literally shows up and it's me versus them, and I don't really have enough space to run, and I'm facing down with this person, can I confidently make a shot that's, I mean, how long is a grocery aisle? How long is a grocery
Yeah.
aisle? How long is half the grocery aisle? Because if I'm halfway through it and you're over there and I'm over here, like, can I make that shot confidently? Can I put multiple shots on target? And a lot of people are satisfied with training at 3 yards. Rules of threes. 3 shots, 3 yards, 3 seconds. That's cool and all to start, but start to challenge yourself and figure out how to challenge yourself. And if you can go to a class, cool. But there's a lot of training that you can get online, and I highly recommend you look at it because there are real life situations happening, and unfortunately, not all of them are going to allow you to escape and call the police.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like when you go to the range, a lot of people just sit there and kind of plink away on the target. That doesn't help you. I mean, yeah, you learn your weapons dexterity. I mean, dexterity wise, you learn your trigger mechanics, etc. But that doesn't help you because you're not under any stress. So you might be a great shot with no stress at 3 meters. But what happens when you are under stress? What happens when you do pull the trigger and a round doesn't go off? How do you clear it under a stressful situation and get your weapon back in the fight and on target? So I'm a big fan of like you said, there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of just practice drills that you could do at the range as long as the range will allow you to, because a lot of ranges don't allow you to draw from concealment. But if you can find a range that will allow you to draw from concealment, um, then I highly recommend going to do those things and drawing from concealment. How do I, getting it out as fast as possible? How do I get on target? Doing all those things, acquiring my sight picture as quickly as possible under stress will greatly improve your chances of survival. And even if you don't do it in the range, like do it at home. Do it at home. Like walk around your house. I'm telling you, man, when my kids and my wife leave, it's like Rainbow Six in here, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Um, I'm going through the house and I'm checking my corners and I'm all right, what happens if I'm on this corner? What happens if somebody's at my front door? How do I clear this corner? How do I get to the opposite end without revealing or exposing myself? And I do it I place myself under stress. Like you got to do it as soon as possible, etc. Because going to the range and just pulling the trigger, it helps, but it's only going to get you so far.
Absolutely. I highly recommend, and I'll, if I remember, paste an affiliate link in the show notes down below, because something that's really pushed me even further is having a shot timer. Now, sometimes that can seem like, oh man, that's for those tactical boys. No, it's for you. It's for you, because if you're in a place where you can draw and you realize, okay, so it took me 3 seconds to draw from concealment and put one shot in the A zone at 7 yards. That's too slow. That's way too
That's too
slow.
slow.
And I'll tell you why it's too slow. In the situation where there was a church situation with the guy Jack Wilson, you can look it up, where he stood up and saved many of the parishioners. We have there was about 3 to 4 seconds that passed before he got his first shot on target. Now he was a little bit further away, um, and so by the time the bad guy, quote unquote, um, if you can call him even that, because I don't know if you can even call him that much, pulled out the shotgun, the clock was ticking, and there was a guy struggling to get his gun into the fight. Took him over 3 seconds, and it cost him his life. It doesn't take long.
Mm.
So if you can get your stuff, in the fight, punch out, go to work, as the people say, in 1 second, 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds, 1.5. Great. We're making progress. And as you continue, maybe you find yourself with the sub-second draw to first shot, which would be great. It's really pushing yourself, but that would be great. Like, can we at least push ourselves to be better than we were before? That's my point. So there's ways to do it,
Yeah,
like you
it's
said.
it's a it's a lot of stuff like and you don't expect in those situations for a failure to happen or a mishap to happen, right? You don't expect in that situation because you think everything is going to go right. Oh, I'm going to lift my shirt up enough to withdraw my firearm. I'm going to get a good grip on my weapon so that under stress I don't reach down and pull it out and drop it by mistake or fling it somewhere by mistake or give an accidental trigger pull. And it takes training to work through those things that can happen um, in a real life scenario. And again, as active self protection always says, when it comes to your life, seconds matter, like you just said. Um, the difference between 5 and 8 seconds could be you not making it back home to your family. So, um, we really got to take this thing. And I envy people that are in countries who don't have this problem. Right, I just came back from Japan. I felt so safe over there,
Japan is
and I
extremely
envy them.
different. They're
They
just
they are,
extremely different. First of all, I
they
mean,
are.
just their cultural norms. You know, the homogenous nature of the society and how the
Yeah,
standard they hold each other to is just different. But that's a
I,
dope trip. I
I,
do
I
want to
was
talk about that.
very
I know we're running out of time, but I do want to talk about your trip a little bit before we go.
yeah, yeah. Which one? You want me to just ramble on about it?
Well, I know you said I'm gonna let you finish your point about how you envy countries like Japan who don't have this problem, and then we'll transition over.
Yeah, I just it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It ain't like I'm about to move out the country. I can't, but I do envy countries that don't have this problem. And I know violence happens everywhere. If you don't have a gun, you'll use a pressure cooker. You don't have a pressure cooker, you'll use a vehicle. Blase skip. But I do envy the companies that don't have to worry, for the most part, about these heinous attacks and things that we have to. It's just a random thought of mine, but yeah, Japan was eye opening for me because it was the first place I ever went to where I felt safe, and I carry everywhere. I will carry taking my garbage out to the lawn. So being in a country where I didn't have to worry about that because nobody else has guns, it was very liberating, man. I can't even lie to you.
Yeah, it is an interesting situation to be in, and so the question is like, is it the guns or is it the people, and what crime are the people of Japan susceptible to? Is it violent crimes? Is it more white collar crimes? Are they going to lose all their Bitcoin in one day? Like what's happening? And I don't expect you to be able to answer that here in this conversation, but I think it would be interesting to explore that further at some point of the countries that don't have quote unquote gun violence. What violence do they face? Are they under threat of acid attacks? Because some places that's knife violence, acid gangs, that's their thing. And obviously even guns
Some
can occur. Like what they shot, I forget the former president's name, but he died due to a shotgun type thing. So
Somebody did tell me that it is highly recommended in sketchy areas in Japan to carry a knife. So I think knives are the things or
mm-hmm.
other sharp weapons. But also a lot of them, and I don't mean to sound stereotypical, but a lot of Asians and Japanese are trained in other forms of martial arts. Is cultural for them. So maybe that is a kind of equalizer because you know the next person that you come up with might be equipped just like you are, skill set wise, hand to hand combat. And I think overall the violence is less because the playing field is so even.
yeah,
I think in the
everybody's
United
trained.
States, a lot of violence happens because a lot of criminals with these guns know a lot of people don't carry, so they try to take advantage of that. And they don't have that problem in Japan because I think the playing field is maybe quote unquote more even. That's just a theory. I have no clue. I could be completely wrong, but just a theory.
So this is my theory. Is that criminals look for opportunity? They look for victims,
Yeah,
and if you literally don't have access to a firearm, maybe you'll get a knife, but you say, like, okay, well, somebody else might have a knife. Somebody else is literally trained in martial arts to the point where it will be hard to
yeah,
to make something happen. At that point, you have to really plan, and the people who are victimized are really victimized, but it's not as many people. And so obviously, I don't know Japan like that. I would have to really look into it and see like what are the crimes that people generally face. But I do want to just take a quick second. If I mean, you can talk about your trip to Japan and kind of the opportunity that your YouTube career has offered you, and maybe if we can follow up at some point, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your YouTube career because I think there's a lot of people who listen and tune in who are interested in content creation. But
Mhm.
if you could just real quickly, take a few minutes to just talk about your experience in content creation and kind of how it's afforded you the opportunity to go to Japan.
Yeah, so the opportunity for Japan was, I mean, don't get me wrong, I get a lot of traveling opportunities, and YouTube is a great place. I tell everybody, man, if you think you have any type of skill, or whether it's the gift of gab, whether it's painting, whether it's chewing on the microphone, whatever the case may be, do it. We live in a totally different time where you literally have teenagers, 19, 20-year olds who are millionaires off of YouTube. Now, is that my experience? Not yet. But YouTube is the land of opportunity because everybody can be somebody. And with just uploading a video, you can reach 3 billion people, and there's an audience for everybody. So, um, I get a lot of opportunities to travel because obviously these companies, especially if you make products about brands, whether it's firearms, cameras, whatever the case may be, um, companies will pay for you to come out and they'll pay for you to come celebrate new products because they know on the back end they're gonna make money off you. So Panasonic was a company. So Panasonic actually reached out to me. Now I don't work with Panasonic at all, but they just happened to reach out to me and said, "Hey, we got a new camera coming, and we would love to invite you to Tokyo." Whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Tokyo, Japan. So obviously, I took advantage of the opportunity, and it was not easy. There was a lot of challenges and hurdles in the way, but to put it in perspective, I looked at the manifest for the prices for the tickets and everything, and it probably because they brought me and my wife out there probably cost them $20,000 to go out there just to experience a new camera release. So all I'm saying is, um, YouTube is the land of opportunity, but you have to start somewhere and you have to not give up because the only way you get these opportunities is if you create something that is valuable to brands when they want to do stuff like this. And that's the audience piece. That's they want access to your audience because it's an easy path to a direct sale for them. So I get a lot of these opportunities, and Japan was just one of those. I never thought I would see Japan in my life, bro. Never thought I would ever see Japan. And God set it up to where me and my wife got to go experience it, and we didn't have to pay a freaking dollar. Panasonic paid for everything, and it was a life changing experience, man. It really was.
Man, that's freaking dope. And I've seen some cool opportunities in the firearm space, but to have a brand look at you and be like, hey, you know what? We would love the opportunity to 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 kind of show you what we've been working on. Can we pay
Yeah.
like a lot of money to bring you out? We're not going to pay you directly, more or less, but can we convince you to come to Japan? I know it's been on your bucket list. Come on
Let me
out.
think about it.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. Let me see if I got time.
and
Um,
it's cool because you can go out there. I know you took some pictures, video, and stuff. So you're creating content. This is a work trip, more or less, but you get to do
yeah,
something
and the
cool.
brands know it. It's something cool, but at the same time, like people always say, like you get a ton of free stuff. You get to go on all these free trips. I mean, it's not free. You know, I might not be paying for it, or they. A lot of times they do pay you for it. I'll put that out there. A lot of times you do get paid for certain things, but these companies know that. All right, maybe it did cost them 15 grand to get you there and to get a camera in your hands or whatever, but the way YouTube works, content is evergreen. They're going to continually make money off of you for years to come. And they know that you're going to go tell 20 people about it. So even if they don't make the money off you directly, they're going to make the money back in some way off of their investment. So, yeah, a lot of people look at it like, oh, that was free. But no, I mean, they're doing it because they want access to an audience, which leads to more money for them.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the cold hard truth is. And can you speak to this really quickly before we sign out? because there's a lot of people in my space who don't quite understand how to communicate and kind of leverage the opportunity um, to make stuff happen, to get paid for us, to talk about a product and things like that. I don't know if there's something that you can talk about that's kind of condensed down into like 60 seconds.
Yeah, the long and short of it, if you decide that you want to start a YouTube channel based around products, I just recommend to try to stay on the leading edge of it, to leverage like search capability on YouTube and stuff like that. You get these opportunities all the time, and really it just boils down to consistency. Most people who start a YouTube channel, um, they quit. Usually people quit before they reach 100 subscribers. And if you reach 100 subscribers, you are in the top 10% of YouTube already. So my biggest advice will be, whether you get into it and it's product based, a lot of times if it's product based, that's where the companies will spend the money to bring you somewhere. To they'll send you products, things like that. But if it's not product based, or even if it is, the biggest thing is consistency, and to, in my opinion, be different. um, Again, YouTube is a place all about personality, and with literally thousands of people uploading videos all day, every day, you have to stand out. So lean into your uniqueness and don't give up. Keep going even when you don't feel like there's a payoff, because it only takes one view, the right view, to change an opportunity for you. I don't care if you're getting a million views of video. It takes one right view for somebody to see you and say, I like that person, and go tell somebody, hey, we need to get, the dots line up. And it's crazy the type of connections and opportunities you get just by being consistent, period.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that nugget. I'm going to take that one to heart for myself, just because every once in a while you start thinking, you get in your head and you're just like, dang, is it worth it? I could be doing something else. I could be doing something else. And
It's
I'm
worth it.
sure you thought that way at some point. But
I still feel the same way every day, but it's just like anything else that's worth it in life. It takes work, and
yeah,
there's going to be ups and downs. And the main difference between the people who are successful and not successful is not that they were more skilled. A lot of times is that they didn't give up.
yeah.
So,
Man, Terry, thank you so much. How can people find you? How can people follow your work?
so yeah, my handle on YouTube is literally Terry Warfield. I think they got the new username feature on YouTube now, so it's at Terry Warfield. On Instagram, it is Terry underscore Warfield. On Twitter, it's underscore Terry Warfield, and on TikTok, it is Terry underscore Warfield. It's weird, you know how the underscores work. You gotta use them to your advantage to get at least a piece of the name you want. But yeah, I'm always on those, man. And I would love if anything I said helped you or you resonated with, I would love to have you as a part of the family. So hopefully I'll see you soon.
All right, all right. So thank you so much to Terry for coming on the show, and thank you so much for staying till the end, because I know these things they can go on for a little bit, but I appreciate you for being part of this journey. Do me a favor, if you're on YouTube, like the video. That helps out tremendously. Drop a comment, because engagement. And no matter where you are, share this with somebody. Share it on your Facebook feed if you're still on Facebook. Share the screenshot in your Instagram stories, or even make a post about it. I would love to hear from you. So shoot me a DM on Instagram at armed underscore atlas. And I'm gonna definitely make sure that we talk a little bit, and I value that. So, real quick, my guy Glock Bay, he sent me this hat. I love it. If you love it too, check out Glock Bay. That's where my merch is located. I'm looking at maybe putting this shirt out. It's experimental. If you like it, let me know. And until next time, keep it costly.